Fire crews are cleaning up after a house fire near Rio Linda Boulevard this morning. Dina Kupfer joins us live from Clare Avenue with what happened there. Dina?
Good morning to you. Yes, so this has been a very busy night for Sacramento fire crews. They were on a different fire earlier, and then they had to come to this one. It actually started, Marianne, as a shed fire, and it started at a different property line just adjacent to this home you're looking at now. But then that fire quickly spread to the attic. Right now, we are still looking for a cause of this fire, but I just spoke with the battalion chief, who tells me they're going to be investigating a couple of different potential causes. Take a listen.
Most likely on this one, we're looking at some sort of electrical issues associated with the illegal grows or the possible illegal grows going on at the addresses. I also haven't ruled out fireworks at this point because of the palm trees and some of the disparate areas where the fire was.
So again, this now being looked at as a possible illegal pot grow, and at this point we know that there were a couple of families in each home. I am told that the damage to the home is not extensive enough that they would be displaced. Unfortunately, no injuries were reported, but still a very busy night. When crews first got here, that whole outside space was engulfed, and so certainly they had to take a lot of precautions to make sure that that didn't spread. There were a couple of access issues. They tell me this is an older street, a lot of on-street parking, and there's actually a little grass field between this road and the one adjacent, and so a lot of different crews trying to get access to this home, but again, they were able to keep the fire to just the shed and the outside space. Back to you.
All right, Dina Kupfer there this morning. Dina, thank you. So good morning, everybody. We've got breaking news to start with out of Woodland this morning, where crews are on the scene of another house fire. Dina Kupfer joins us live from Kentucky Avenue this morning. Dina?
Good morning to you, Marianne. Well, I just got done talking to the battalion chief, and you can still see the flames coming out of the roof here in this home off of Kentucky Avenue in Woodland. The battalion chief tells me in the last 6 months, this is now the third fire to break out at this abandoned home. The chain link fence was already around it. The back of the structure has already been impacted by fire, and it was already boarded up. He said that this home has been abandoned for quite some time and is a known spot for homeless to come and hunker down in the cooler evening temperatures. So now we are seeing firefighters here on scene. They are going to continue to monitor the two homes on either side of this fire. But again, we know that this is a common problem with this structure. Now the third fire at this location in just the last 6 months. But it is a heavy presence of fire personnel here. They've got it covered from every angle to make sure that that fire does not spread to the adjacent homes. They tell me that that call came in just after 6:30 this morning. They got here quickly, and they have everything now under control, and they'll be monitoring those homes on either side.
And we're starting off with that breaking news in Woodland this morning. Fire crews still on the scene of a house fire there, a house they've been to before. Dina Kupfer is live from Kentucky Avenue with that this morning. Dina?
That's right, Marianne. Yes, this is actually the third time fire crews here in Woodland have been to this property on Kentucky Avenue. You can see the back of the home suffered extensive fire damage 2 times prior to the fire that broke out today, and it made it difficult for fire crews to access because it was already boarded up. Let's show you some of that video we captured just in the last half hour, as when we arrived on scene, this was still very active. The home engulfed when we got here. The battalion chief tells us that the fire broke out at about 6:10 this morning, and this is a home that is well known to their crews. Witnesses tell them that there was a lot of activity around this home and possibly homeless who had been staying here. The battalion chief tells me it was pretty well tight-lipped, though. There were a lot of fences. There were many boards in the windows, and so they didn't think that anybody could access it. But he says at some point that this did catch fire, and there was also a duplex on the back side of the home that also suffered extensive damage. A family living in that structure behind did get out okay, so no injuries reported. But they did initially have to come in with their ladder truck, hoist that crane up, and attack this fire from above. And now they are inside of this fire, trying to make sure that they can put out the flames. You can see this home right here, though, right next to where this fire was. And there's another home on the other side equally as close. So they were monitoring both homes to make sure that it didn't spread. And now they have an investigator looking through potential arson as the cause. Back to you.
All right, Dina Kupfer this morning. Dina, thank you for...
It is training day for some of Sacramento's finest.
Yes, Sacramento firefighters will undergo a series of drills that simulate real-life scenarios. Dina Kupfer has a look at what's happening. Good morning.
Good morning to all of you. Well, this is critical fire training for these Sac Metro firefighters as they have been given access to a building that was set to be demolished anyway. So now they get to go through this structure and light fire to separate rooms. And my photographer, Scott Zentner, if you can come this direction, you can see right now they just set a fire inside of that back bedroom. And this is all simulating what would happen in real life. They're going to get access to this building and be able to put them out room by room. Critical training. We have Captain Chris Vestal with us this morning from Sac Metro Fire. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, talk about the importance of this training for all of your teams.
It's huge. We don't get a whole lot of opportunities to train in live fire environments on structures like we would do as we're responding to an actual incident. So the St. George Catholic Church gave us the opportunity to burn a few of their buildings, which were set for demolition. And now we're going to be able to send about 60 to 70 firefighters through and do some real-world training. We're going to be able to look at how our tactics affect smoke, and how we read that on the outside, and then deploy our tactics once we arrive on scene and start performing our operations.
Absolutely, and we go to house fires, unfortunately, all too often. Just yesterday, I was on 2 different house fires in the community, and it's true that these fire crews, they get to go in these real-life situations, but not every member of these 3 to 4 man crews gets the same job, right?
That's correct. So when we respond to a fire, there's about 5 to 6 different core functions that we do on that fire. And depending on your arrival order, you may not get to perform one of those operations every time. So in this situation, we get to do several rotations, and everybody will get a hands-on, first-hand experience to do that in the real-world situation.
Okay, now I know a lot of people looking at home saying, okay, that's a lot of fire personnel in a training situation, but you are telling me, too, that you've got all the bases covered throughout the city today as well.
That's correct. So at Metro Fire, we have about 10 units that are out of service at any given time on EMS drills, fire drills, any number of different types of training that we have to do to keep our community safe. So on this particular drill, we only have 2 units out at any given time. That's in addition to some other drills going on throughout the district, but the district is well covered, and we'll be able to meet our response times as it would on any other normal day.
All right, thank you so much, Chris Vestal. And again, all these crews, you can see now going into this building, they are doing different jobs to make sure that they all get their hand at the different pieces that they will be able to actually do in real life, because this, of course, happens in our community all too often. But again, this church donated these buildings, essentially. They were set to be demolished anyway. They had to go through, remove any asbestos beforehand to make sure there was no environmental impact. But you can see the smoke here coming out of that building. This is going to be something the community around the Folsom Boulevard area is going to be smelling and seeing today. So don't be alarmed. It is a training exercise, but Sac Metro firefighters getting that very hands-on training today in this critical exercise. Back to you. We are in Rancho Cordova with Sac Metro fire crews, and they are getting real-life fire training. You can see behind me this building on fire now. It's a structure already set to be demolished, but these fire crews are getting critical hands-on experience at putting it out. We have a crew now who is arriving here on scene. It is basically a simulation of a real-life call at a structure fire. We have Captain Chris Vestal with the Sac Metro Fire Department this morning. Talk to me about what's going on behind us.
We're training in a real-world situation for a structure fire response. This is unique because we don't get a whole lot of acquired structures to burn and do live fire in. So in this situation, we're lighting fire. We're having crews respond as if it was a real dispatch, and then go ahead and perform their operations.
And this is important because not every crew, when they go to a structure fire, not every crew member gets to do the same job on each structure. So each one of these crew members will get a different experience going through what they're happening today.
There's about 5 or 6 different core functions that we provide on a fire, and all of those tasks are performed by a different crew. So typically on one fire, you'll get to perform one of those tasks. And in a duration of 12 months, you may only get to perform maybe half those tasks. You might get to do one over and over, but you may miss out on another. So in this training, you get to rotate through, perform all of those tasks, and get that competency back on all those functions that we rarely get to experience.
Absolutely. And finally, a lot of crews here. For anyone wondering, you do also have areas around the city covered with other crews this morning.
That's correct. So typically we'll have up to 10 crews out of service at any given time, but that's still sufficient to provide our priority duty of emergency response.
Thank you so much, Captain Chris Vestal. Again, Sac Metro Fire getting critical training here at this building already set to be demolished in Rancho Cordova. Back to you.
Dina Kupfer, thank you.